similar to how we start with our foam roller. We're going to start with a very similar line of work there, using our stick as sort of a just a little bit of feedback. So hold your stick sideways, and we're just going to start with some gentle twisting. And as you move here, part of what we're doing is paying attention to our space and the stick that we're working with. So we'll just want to be mindful that we don't smash up our houses or smash any windows. So get to know where your stick, where you end and your stick begins. So you just kind of get an idea of what kind of space you're dealing with. And then once you've got your stick kind of moving and grooving side to side, now you're going to make a tight grip. And then imagine you're pulling your stick apart. So it's going to slow that movement down just a little bit. Get a little feedback as you pull apart. You might notice a little space in the shoulders now, a little activation in the armpit chest. And then you might feel your oblique muscles fire on just a little bit harder. All right, one more twist side to side with that pulling apart, and then relax that pulling apart, soften up, come back to that looser position. Nice, and now we're gonna take it up and overhead, and then that same loose position, just take a couple of side bends, but then you're gonna get to know your space here. So like for me, my stick is gonna touch the ceiling at some point, so I have to be mindful that I only go as far as my stick allows. Soft hold here, one more time each side, and then we're gonna find that pulling apart again. So grip your stick, pull apart, and then slow down that side bend maneuver, but keep that grip and pulling apart sensation. Awesome. One more of that pulling apart side to side. And then as you come back to center, soften your grip, take a couple of little loose side bends, just kind of soften it all up. Nice, and now we're gonna bring that stick down to chest height. And then we're gonna grab our grip, firm grip, pull apart, activate the armpit chest muscles, and then release. Pull apart, activate those muscles, and then release. Pull apart, activate and release. Pull apart and release. One more like that, pull apart and release. Now we're gonna keep that pulling apart sensation and take it into some squats. So butt back, bend your knees, but keep pulling apart on the stick, and then rise back up, but keep pulling apart. Pull apart as you sit your butt back. Pull apart as you rise back up. Beautiful. 6 more to go, just like that. Go at your pace. Last one. And now we're going to walk our hands as wide as your stick will allow. And then you're just going to start to see if you can find overhead, bringing it all the way behind you, and then back in front. Let your elbows do whatever they need to do to allow that work to happen. Widen your grip just as much as your stick will allow, so you have plenty of room to maneuver, and then just make sure you're only going as far as feels safe and comfortable in your shoulder. So if you hit any impingement in the shoulder or anything that zings you, leave it off. Maybe just go to up and overhead, draw back slightly. And so you're not going anywhere that you're feeling pain in the shoulders. Lovely. One more time, up and down. And now we're going to take it into some circles. So you're going to keep that wide grip. You're going to circle around one way. Arms are going to come behind. You're going to circle around the other way, and then reverse, go in the other direction. So now one elbow is going to help move, and then the other elbow is going to stay pretty straight. Awesome. Take one more time each side, or just even yourself out. And then from here, we're going to get an uneven stance. So we're going to get a single hand hold. So you're just going to hold your stick out at your side in a long position. So one end is pointing forward, one end is pointing back. And then we're going to use that, just sort of see if you can find the middle of your stick. So we want to find that even weight distribution. And then we're going to stagger our stance slightly. So step your right foot back. If your stick is in your right hand, step your right foot back. If your stick is in your left hand, step your left foot back. So we're going to stagger our stance. Staggering the stance is just so that we engage the core, keep the abdominal muscles engaged, keep a good posture. But now we're just going to focus in the wrist. So you're going to draw your knuckles up, get a little activation of the forearm, and then draw the knuckles back down. Try to keep the front tip and the back tip of your stick so that it's not wiggling too much up and down, but we're just drawing the knuckles up, squeeze that forearm, and then lower the knuckles back down. Awesome. 4 more here. Just lifting the knuckles up and out to the side and then lowering them down with control. Nice. And then the next time the knuckles are down, now we're going to do that wrist movement, but we're going to let the tip of the stick and the tail of the stick lower. So now you're going to keep your forearm pretty stationary, still staggering your stance. And the staggered stance is purely to keep a controlled core. So we really focus on staying nice and even and steady in our posture. Nice. 1 more up and down here. And then we're going to hold the stick slightly away from the side of the body, still with that staggered stance. But now we're going to pull the knuckles in towards the thigh. So we're curling inward. And again, we want to keep that stick, tail end and the front end, staying in that fairly stationary position. And we're just curling in. So now hopefully you're finding a little work in the forearm, but in that opposite direction. Two more to go here. Nice. And then we're going to switch hands and switch our feet. So now we're going to take it over to the other side. Find that middle position with your stick, stagger your stance. And then once you've found it, we're lifting the knuckles up and out to the side, lowering them back down, trying to keep the tail end and the front end of the stick fairly steady so it's not wobbling up and down, but just lifting out to the side and then lowering back down. Yes, you got it. Two more to go here. Awesome. And now we're doing tip end and tail end of the stick. So we're keeping the elbow and the forearm fairly stationary. And now we're just lifting the tip and then lowering it down. So most of that movement is coming out of the wrist. Nice. 1 more on each side. And then as you come back to center, arm's going to lift slightly away from the side of the body. We're still keeping that staggered stance. We're curling the knuckles down or drawing the knuckles in and then releasing back to that neutral position. So now we're working in that opposite direction, but just offering a little space so that you can curl the knuckles in comfortably. Beautiful. 5 more to go here. Beautiful. And now step your feet out, find a nice wide position. And now we're going to take the stick in front of the chest, finding about shoulder distance. And then we're going to find that pulling apart sensation again. As you sink into a sumo squat, one end is going to come down, pull apart, come back up. Sink into the sumo squat, and the other end is going to come down, pull apart, come back up. Sink down, one end up, come back to center, sink down, switch in the other direction. Keep that pulling apart. So most of the movement now is coming out of the shoulders. We're working our grip to pull the stick apart. You might feel your armpit chest activated. Beautiful. One more time each side with this palm down situation. And then as you come back up, flip palms. So now palms are facing up. Find your grip, pull apart. It might change your range of motion a little bit. Pull apart, rotate the arms. Yes, nice. But just go to a depth or range of motion that works good for your arms. Nice work, you guys. One more time each side. And then with that palm facing up situation, stay upright. You might choose to walk your hands just a little bit closer, grip your arms, pull apart, and take it right into some bicep curls. So elbows are gonna hug in at the side body, forearms are gonna help pull apart. So the shoulders are activated, and then you keep pulling apart as you lift up and pulling apart as you lower down. Two more to go. Nicely done. Okay, now we're gonna set the stick down on the ground and we're just gonna get a sense of how the stick feels as a support system. So with a single hand hold, you're just gonna shift your weight over to one foot, pick it up, shift your weight over to the other foot, pick it up. Don't think of the stick here as a crutch, right? Think of it as a third point of contact. So you really start to feel and sense how the stick can support you as we find bigger movements that really helps strengthen our legs, our ankles, and our feet. But we just want to get to know the stick, know what it's capable of. Take one more time with your stick in this hand, and then we're going to stick with this maneuver, but switch hands. So now you're just going to see how it feels to hold on, find your grip, notice how sturdy or unsturdy your stick feels, and that'll give you a lot of feedback to know what you can and can't do with your stick. But we're using it as a tool, not as a crutch. So don't let your mind think of this as like, oh, I've got to do this thing. Use your stick as part of your work. Awesome. One more time each side, and then come back to that original hand, move your stick out to the side. And now we're just going to stay double heel lift. So you can probably normally do a double heel lift unsupported, but just start to feel how just having that handhold takes your brain away from having to focus on balance. And now you can listen into your ankles, to your feet, to your toes, firm up your abdomen, and your brain has less work to do to focus on staying balanced. One more time here, and then switch over to the other hand, same deal, double heel lifts, but we're just noticing how that little bit of support from the stick offers you extra work in the calves, in the shins, in your ankles and your feet. Nice. One more up and down here. And then we're going to find a little bit of a center hold. So double hand hold. You're going to walk that stick forward just a little bit and then see if you can put a little bit of your body weight forward and then move again in that weight position, shifting side to side. Make sure your stick can support this movement with a slight bit of your body weight forward. And then if it feels like it's good, now we're going to add a leg lift. So you're going to alternate sides. That stick is the third point of contact. It's allowing you to focus on squeezing the glutes, using that transfer of weight without having to focus too much on how do you find your balance, because the stick is going to help support that. Beautiful. One more lift each side. And now we're going to play around with a little catch and release. So with that stick in a center position, you're just going to start by passing it from one hand to the other, but you're going to let it sort of float into the other hand. So we just want to practice our catch and our release. See how that feels. Sticking with that side to side motion. Once you feel like you've kind of got that down, now you're going to take it a little bit further and you're going to let your stick fall a little further and you're going to let your knees move with you. You get bonus points if you do drop the stick and then have to pick it up, because that just means that's extra work that you had to do. Okay, now we're going to stick with mostly going to the right, just to learn how to do these maneuvers. So you're going to hold on to the stick with your left hand. We're going to fall to the right and we're going to let our body move with. So we're going to catch it, let it go, bring it back in, let it go and bring it back in, but just stick to one side. And you'll notice that the stick doesn't always fall exactly in the same place. So now we're going to play around with our reaction time. Where is that stick going? How long can I wait before I catch it? Nice. One more on this side. And then we're going to switch over to the other side. So we're just going to hold on with the right hand, let it go to the left. You might start small just to kind of get a feel for where that stick goes, and then play around with how long you wait before you catch it. Nice work, you guys. Okay, one more time on this side. Beautiful. Okay, now we're going to take it into a single hand hold, and now we're going to start walking the perimeter of our mat. But just keep in mind, I say perimeter of our mat because that's the space that I'm working in, but you have a lot of space and you want to go all around your room. You're going to do what feels right to you here. You're going to use your stick as your little third point of contact. You're going to step forward, lift one heel, let the heel hover as much as you can, step the other foot forward, lift your heel. So you're using your stick kind of as a walking stick or as a guide, but you're going to find a little hold. So it's that single heel lift and hold, slow it down so that you can start to build strength in the foot, in the ankle, in the calf. Use your stick to just help support. Find whichever handhold works better for you. You might choose left or right. That's totally up to you. But try to really slow down that lift and hold. So it might feel a little awkward and it might not look super pretty. Don't worry about that. Worry about finding that strength and control. Even if you barely lift that heel a centimeter off the ground, if you can find that lift and hover, that's amazing. You're building so much strength in your legs, in your ankles, calves and shins, and all the way through the feet. All right, and then just so as you not make yourself dizzy, switch directions, take your circles or walk the perimeter or whatever area you're working in, and just reverse directions, just so you get a little variation of lead foot, a little variation of handhold, and so you don't make yourself dizzy. All right, one more time around your perimeter or whatever space that you're working in. Nice. And then when you're ready, give your legs a nice good shake, wiggle out your toes, wiggle out your ankles. And then we're going to get a center hold. Feet are going to come into our little Pilates V. So heels together, toes out to the left and to the right. We're going to use our stick for a point of contact. And then we're going to sink into a little demi plie. You're going to pick up both heels, keep the heels lifted, rise up, lower your heels down. Bend your knees, lift your heels, keep the heels lifted, rise up, lower your heels down. Awesome. 6 more to go here. Last one. Nicely done. Okay, give your legs a shake. Now we're going to play around with using our stick to come down. So think surrenders, single hand hold. So that's going to be your point of contact. You're going to step one leg back, lower your knee down, bring it down to the ground, and then use your stick to help guide you back up. Switch to the other side. You'll find the handhold that works good for you. So you might find that one hand is a little bit sturdier or a little bit better at keeping that control. One knee down and then the other. Nice work. You can do a double hand hold if it feels better to have it in front of you and use both hands. Do whatever works good for you. We want to find control so we're not slamming our knee down onto the ground, finding a bunch of fire in those quads. Nicely done. Okay, now the next time your right knee comes down, stay in that kneeling position, pick up your stick, hold it sideways. We're twisting to one side, pull apart, twist to the other side. Keep your legs as anchored as you can. Pull apart, twist to one side, pull apart, and twist to the other side. Nice. One more time each side. And then as you come back to center, set that stick down, switch your kneel. So other foot's going to step back, the other foot's going to come forward. Pick up your stick, hold on, get that nice firm grip, and then back to that rotation. Turning to one side and then the other, keeping your legs nice and sturdy, nice and stable on the ground, letting most of that rotation come from the belly button up, but with that firm grip so we get the activation of the armpit chest muscles and all the way up through the back of the shoulders. Beautiful. One more time each side. And then as you bring it back to center, set that stick down, step the other knee down. So now we're in that high kneel position, chest across in that hold, pull apart, arms straight out from the chest. Keep that pulling apart sensation. Lean back into a little Z, and then come forward with a little control. Beautiful. Lean back and come forward. Lean back and come forward. Nicely done. 4 more to go here. Last one. Awesome. And then from here, rotate your stick. We're going to spin the legs out to one side so you can set your butt down, and then send your legs out in front of you nice and long. And then we're going to keep a little bit of space between the legs just so we have a little bit of, just so we have a nice grounding with our seat. Now you're going to take your stick similar to what we do with our foam roller with that little pushing on, but we're going to angle it out. So think outer edge, top of the thigh. You're going to angle it out just a little bit, and then like a little rolling pin, you're just going to roll down the thigh, putting as much pressure on as you can stand, but it's slightly out and off to the side of the thigh. So you might have to readjust your stick so you have room to move it. One more time down the outside of that thigh, and then we're going to take it over and across to the other side. So we're angling it out slightly, put as much pressure on as you like, and then do that little rolling pin maneuver, rolling down towards the knee, staying off the knee joint. We're just working into that muscle tissue. Nice. One more time, down and up, and then step your feet just a little bit closer, both knees pointing upwards. So now the stick is across both thighs, and then same maneuver, pushing down towards the knees, and then pushing down as you roll back up. So you'll readjust your hands as needed. It's a little smaller than the foam roller, so you'll have to do those just little maneuvers so that you can keep a nice steady roll, rolling down towards the knees, but staying off the knees, and then rolling back up. Nice. One more up and down. And then we're gonna take a hold of our kayak, or walk your knees in so you have a nice little bent knee position. Heels are gonna dig into the ground. Lean back into your little V sit, and then we're gonna start to row our kayak. So keep pulling apart on that stick, row to one side and then the other. Keep your abdominal muscles engaged. Keep that pulling apart. So you're working your grip, you're working your shoulders, you're working the armpit chest muscles and the abdominal muscles. Nice. And then you just have to make readjustments for your stick, just depending on how long your stick is. Wonderful. One more time each side. And then we're going to keep that stick across the chest, curl the tailbone under slightly. It's halfway roll back. So we're going to roll back halfway, but pull apart on the stick, roll yourself back up and reach with your stick. Bring it back towards the chest, curl the tailbone, roll back about halfway, lift up and reach. Nice. 4 more to go here. Awesome. Last one. And then if you can, we're going to roll all the way down to the ground. So curl your tailbone under, roll down with control, reach your feet nice and long. Check your spacing just to make sure that your stick is going to work in this position. And then we're going to take it into some roll-ups, but we're going to pull apart on the stick as we roll up. So take an inhale on the ground, exhale, curl up the head, neck, and chest as you pull apart on that stick. Reach past your toes if you can. Pull apart on the stick, pull the abdominal muscles in, roll down through your spine, keep pulling apart as you reach up and overhead. Keep pulling apart as you exhale, curl up the head, neck, and chest, push through your heels, pull apart on your stick, reach past your toes. Beautiful. 4 more to go here. Last one. And as you come up into that seated position, we're going to stay in that seated position. And now we're going to take it over into the shins. So you're going to bend one leg in so it's just completely out of the way. And then you're going to internally rotate your toes. So we want to have access to the muscles that run to the outside of that shin bone. You're going to take your stick, same rolling pin maneuver, and you're just going to roll gently down and roll gently back up. You put as much pressure on as feels appropriate, and then just be mindful. The stick is a little harder than like our foam roller. So we really want to make sure we stay mindful and off of those bony landmarks. Nice. One more up and down on this side. And then as you lift up, you're just going to lean back, switch your legs. So the one leg's going to come in, the other leg's going to come out, and then you're going to let the toe drop in. So you have access to the muscles on the outside of that shin bone. And then once you've found it, we're rolling up and down. Watch your pressure. Make sure you're staying mindful of that shin bone. Awesome. One more up and down. And then using your stick as a point of contact, you're going to come up hands free. So you're going to spin your legs around in any way that works good for you. Beautiful. And then using your stick just to hold on tight, we're going to step one foot back into a slight lunge position, and we're just going to gently roll out the ankles. So you're going to roll onto the tops of the toes, put a little stretch to the ankle and the top of the foot, roll back, press into your heel, get a little stretch to your heel and your calf. Roll in, stretch the top of the foot, roll back and press into your heel. Beautiful. 2 more just like that. Awesome job. Step that foot in, and we're going to switch to the other side. So switch handhold if that works good for you. Step your foot back into that slight lunge position, roll over onto the toenails, gently press into the top of the foot, roll back, press into your heel. Beautiful. Nice work. Last one here. Awesome. And then both hands on your stick. I almost said foam roller. Both hands on your stick. We're going to walk back into that kind of down dog situation. So you're going to find a little V shape with your body. You let your arms go wherever feels best on your stick. And then create a little space between your arms, even if it means walking your elbows a little bit wider so your head has a space to drop down. And then find that reach through your arms, through the back of the body. Take a nice big breath. Beautiful. And then come up nice and slow. And now we're going to take that stick behind at that sideways hold, palms facing out. Now we're going to fold over and let the stick fall away from the back of the body. So you want to make sure that you have a fairly good enough width of your arms so that your arms move freely away from your back body. Bend your knees, fold over. A slight firm grip just so you get that handhold, and then let your arms just fall away. Take one more breath here. And then you're going to bring your stick towards your low back, bend your knees, lift from the top of your head, come up nice and slow, release your grip, maybe wiggle your fingers, wiggle your wrists. You guys are amazing. Nice work today.